Hello and welcome to Unacademy. Over the next 4 days, that is from 29th August to 1st September, Prime Minister Modi is making two back to back high profile visits. First to Japan and then to China. On the surface, it looks like just another round of diplomacy. But for India's foreign policy, this is a critical balancing act, strengthening our partnership with Japan while at the same time attempting a tentative reset with China. For UPSC aspirants, this visit is a live case study on strategic autonomy, regional geopolitics, and the Indo-Pacific power balance. These visits also come at a time of global flux, when US trade policies are unpredictable, regional rivalries have sharpened, and global conflicts continue to rage while India is racing to secure its place in the global order. So let's unpack what's at stake and what both visits mean for India's strategic autonomy. But before we start, I have an important announcement. Unacademy is bringing back the CSC Assure program. Under CSC Assure, we promise to be with you till you achieve your dream of becoming an IAS, IPS, IFS officer. If a learner avails a subscription of 2 years and above, and for any reason, if you don't clear UPSC prelims, then we take full responsibility and provide you with a free extension for the next attempt. So, without wasting time, enroll for the new upcoming batches, which are starting this week. And the best part is, Unacademy has extended the special offer price of 19,999 till 31st August, along with up to 12 months of free extension. So, those interested, click on the link in the video description below. And to avail this offer, enter the code IAS English without fail. Now, let's get back to our discussion and start with Japan. India and Japan, they share a special strategic and global partnership. It is one of our deepest bilateral relationship, covering defense and maritime security, trade and investments, technology and cultural ties. But why is this summit important? First, we have defense cooperation. The two nations conduct joint military exercises, such as Dharma Guardian between the two armies, GIMEX between the two navies, and even an Air Force exercise known as Shinyu Maitri. Japan has also been a permanent participant in the Malabar Naval Exercise since 2015, which also includes the US and Australia. A logistics exchange agreement already allows access to each other's military bases, strengthening maritime security from the Indian Ocean to the Pacific. Now, both sides are exploring joint defense production, particularly in unmanned systems, surveillance platforms, and dual use technologies. Second, we have the Indo-Pacific vision of both the countries. Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific strategy perfectly aligns with India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Both countries want an Indo-Pacific region that is free, open, rules-based, and inclusive, countering coercive tactics while avoiding formal alliances. This is an indirect message to China to tone down its aggressive expansionism in the Indo-Pacific. This convergence forms the backbone of their cooperation in the Quad grouping as well. Third, we have Japan's ODA loans and mega investments in India. This is where the economic backbone of the relationship lies. Japan has been India's largest source of official development assistance or ODA loans. And over the past 2 decades, Japan has financed India's metro rail projects, especially the ones in Delhi and Bengaluru, important highways, port projects, and even the dedicated freight corridor project. The upcoming Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail project, which is India's first bullet train, is modeled on Japan's Shinkansen technology and is funded by highly concessional loans offered by Japan with flexible repayment periods. But delays and cost overruns have caused some friction between the two countries. So this summit is expected to focus on fixing the execution bottlenecks, land acquisition, local workforce training, and technology transfer so that India can actually deliver its first Shinkansen line or the first bullet train project, hopefully by the end of this decade. But beyond ODA, Japan is reportedly planning to double its private sector investments in India to $68 billion dollars over the next decade. This promise, made in 2022, covers manufacturing, green energy, digital infrastructure, and startups. Tracking actual inflows is actually crucial, but if it is delivered, it would make Japan one of the biggest foreign investors in India. So, for UPSC exams, always remember Japan is not just a defense and tech partner, it is India's biggest development partner as well. No other advanced economy has committed this scale of long term financing to India's growth story. And fourth, we have semiconductors, supply chains, and critical emerging sectors. Japan controls key parts of the global semiconductor ecosystem. It's even part of the Fab 4 alliance with US, Taiwan, and South Korea. So, Japan controls critical sectors from chip making equipment to even supply of critical minerals and rare elements which are needed for the industry. Whereas India brings the scale of its market, and Japan and its companies having access to the Indian market and policy incentives offered by the government. Together, India and Japan are expected to announce joint semiconductor R&D initiatives, semiconductor packaging units in India, and even agreements on critical minerals which are needed for electric vehicles and electronics industry. Japan is also planning to prioritize investment in key areas such as telecommunications, clean energy, pharmaceuticals, and artificial intelligence. So, this is not just commerce, it is about economic security and strategic interests. Then, fifth, we have the Quad factor. With the US distracted by tariff disputes and the war in Ukraine, India and Japan are carrying the Quad's momentum. We can expect both leaders to stress Quad's pivotal role in maritime domain awareness, in digital connectivity, and in building resilient supply chains, signaling that the Indo-Pacific partnership will outlast the temporary disruptions in US foreign policy. So, in Tokyo, the message is clear. Japan is both India's developmental banker and a reliable strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific. And surprisingly, this time, the elephant in the room will not be China, but the United States and Mr. Orange Face. Jokes apart, let's understand why are Trump's policies relevant over here. See, India's ties with Japan gain urgency precisely because US India trade relations are under stress. The recent 50% tariffs imposed by Trump on Indian goods have jolted exporters and created uncertainty about market access. So, for New Delhi, this means two things: strengthen Japan as an alternative technology and investment partner, and build collective resilience with like minded economies to reduce dependency on any one country. Now, this is where supply chain diversification and third country cooperation projects with Japan comes into picture. Be it in Southeast Asia or Africa or even with regard to digital standards, Japan will be a critical partner for India to help diversify our trade and economic interests. So, for UPSC exams, you can see this as an example of how external shocks like US tariffs on India will push India to deepen strategic partnerships elsewhere with other countries, leading to the diversification of our foreign policy and economic interests. Now, let's move to the China leg of PM Modi's visit, the second part of the upcoming visit. Since the Galwan River Valley clashes of 2020, ties have largely been frozen at the political level. PM Modi has avoided visiting China for 7 years. His last visit was in 2018. But now, signs of a reset are visible as both countries resolved the Ladakh standoff at last year's BRICS summit in Kazan in Russia. Now, PM Modi's visit to Tianjin to attend the SCO Summit marks a new normal in the bilateral relationship. Parallelly, the border talks between India and China have restarted under the special representative mechanism. The underlying principle is that peace and tranquility at the line of actual control is the prerequisite for normalcy in other areas. A meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping, even though it's a brief one at the SCO Summit, would be a signal that both sides want to at least keep talking despite the persisting tensions and border issues. Then, second, the resumption of people to people contacts. The Kailash Manasarovar Yatra, which had been suspended for many years, has been restarted, and this symbolizes cultural normalization. Direct flights between Indian and Chinese cities are being restored after sharp reductions during the pandemic and during border tensions. Then visas for students and businessmen are also being eased out, reversing some of the travel barriers of the last 5 years. And third, we have trade management and the complex trade relationship. Despite tensions, bilateral trade has remained above $125 billion consistently, and China is India's largest trading partner. But India wants fewer regulatory shocks, particularly for pharma, agro exports, and IT services. We want to cut down the high trade deficit. So, even small steps to improve market access will help in confidence building and will help reduce the widening trade deficit. Because, mind you, the trade deficit also has crossed $100 billion. Then, fourth, China's surprising gesture on Trump's tariffs. Interestingly, Beijing has criticized Trump's tariffs on Indian goods and has expressed support to India. So, this doesn't mean China has become a new friend or a new ally, but it shows how shared mutual concerns about Trump's unpredictability and America's unreliability can open limited space for India China cooperation. So, this reset is not about rebuilding trust between India and China. That may not happen so soon. But it is about stability, avoiding an open confrontation while keeping the lines of communication open. At the SCO Summit in Tianjin, India will push two important points. First would be counterterrorism. India has consistently highlighted the China Pakistan nexus in shielding Pakistan from accountability on terrorism. New Delhi will likely press for stronger SCO commitments against cross border terrorism, terror financing, and safe havens that exist in Pakistan. Interestingly, the timing also coincides with Operation Sindoor, India's counter-terror successes in J&K, where Pakistani-backed networks have been disrupted by India. New Delhi will use this operational success to strengthen its moral case at the SCO under the Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, or the RATS platform of SCO, and highlight that state-sponsored terrorism is not an abstract issue, but a lived threat and reality for India in the region. India may even bring up China's active military and intelligence support that was extended to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. Then, coming to connectivity, China will push its Belt and Road Initiative under the SCO framework. India will try to resist explicit endorsement given its rejection of CPEC project as it violates India's sovereignty. But we may promote alternative modes of connectivity that stress sovereignty, transparency, and debt sustainability. So, this reflects India's balancing act, engaging the SCO for continental Eurasian issues while anchoring Indo-Pacific strategies with Japan and the quadrilateral. So, I hope you're able to see how India is balancing out China and Japan and how India continues to focus on its multi-aligned foreign policy. So, from a UPSC perspective, PM Modi's visit will illustrate three larger trends in our foreign policy. One, strategic autonomy in practice. India strengthens defense and technology ties with Japan even as it carefully re engages China without abandoning the Quad or relations with the US. Then, two, multi alignment. India is no longer non aligned, it is multi aligned, cooperating with different partners depending on the issue and circumstances, whether it's semiconductors with Japan or counterterrorism pressure within the SCO. And three, balancing continental and maritime strategies. With Japan, focus is on maritime Indo-Pacific, whereas with China, the focus is on continental security in the Asia region, primarily the persisting border issues and the issue of counterterrorism. So these visits provide live case studies for GS2 answers under international relations. Potentially, you can expect an essay topic related to India's foreign policy in a multipolar world, and this discussion would be helpful for you. And it could help in your PSIR optional as well. So here's the final takeaway from my side. In Tokyo, PM Modi seeks resilience, technology partnerships, defense cooperation, and supply chain diversification with a trusted partner. Whereas in Tianjin, he seeks stability, a cautious thaw with China, to reset the relationship, bring some normalcy, and resume people to people ties and the trade linkages, and even shape narrative at the SCO on terrorism. So, for India, the success of this visit will not be some dramatic breakthrough, but the ability to keep multiple doors open in an uncertain world. And that in diplomacy is often the real victory. Now, I end this discussion with these questions for you. Will China accept the closeness between India and Japan? Can China be trusted on the reset and normalization? And is this a new paradigm in the power play between US, China, and India? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such engaging and insightful discussions on India's foreign policy.